know about sibling jealousy? What do you know about sibling rivalry? What about narcissistic sibling rivalry? You know, siblings are complicated, and with the state of our family systems in today's world, whether it's a nuclear or it's a blended kind of a system, it is very complicated to figure out where do you belong in the family system and what is needed in that family system to help you feel loved and cared about. There are some situations where, you know, the siblings are the biggest issue in the family dynamic. And it's not always the typical sibling rivalry that there's a new baby in the family. And so therefore, I'm going to feel a little bit jealous and I may do some things here and there. That's normative. It's normal. That's going to show that I feel replaced by or jealous of the baby that's come. And to a certain extent, and according to research, there are some children who are showing you by their jealous behavior that they are appropriately, oh my God, I can't get it out. If they are appropriately and firmly existing within an attachment style that is healthy. For a lot of families, it's hard to determine what attachment style is healthy and not healthy. So some people determine that by looking at the jealousy of the child who is, you know, jealous of the newborn baby that has arrived. But in a normal family system where there's no new babies, there's no new transitions, and you have a sibling that seems to either one-up you, minimize and degrade you, or completely act like you don't exist, what do you do? I have a lot of families in my practice, and I've had families in the past as well who are dealing with sibling rivalry, and if only they had the proper information, would they have been able to prevent it? So in today's video, I'm going to be talking about sibling narcissistic and unhealthy dysfunctional rivalry and some of the things that you're likely to see, the causes and the consequences right here for you in this video. But before I jump in, let me just briefly introduce myself in case you are new. My name is Tamara. I'm internationally and board certified as a trauma therapist. I'm licensed in mental health. I specialize in treating children, teens, and families, as well as adults who are dealing with trauma. Let's jump in. I once had a family who had 5 girls in one home. 2 were adopted and the other 3 were biological girls. And, you know, one of my biggest fears is to have a family where I'm the mother of 5 girls. I prefer the boys. Nothing against females and women. I'm not trying to be sexist, but I do prefer the boys. They're a little less complicated than the girls. This family came to me with 5 of their girls. And, you know, these young ladies not only sabotaged each other, they ostracized each other, they manipulated and triangulated, but they also began to date each other's boyfriends in an attempt to create this almost like a collective heartbreak for all of them. It was a really insane sounding kind of a thing, and I really couldn't grasp what it was. And then when I asked for the details, it was just shocking the amount of egoism that was in there, and egotistical thought patterns and narcissism and unhealthy and dysfunctional beliefs and all of that. It was just horrible. I found myself needing a lot of consultation and guidance during that time as a professional because I just could not unravel the complicatedness, if that's a word, of the situation. Now, you may be wondering, you know, what's the difference between sibling rivalry and narcissistic and dysfunctional sibling behavior? Well, sibling rivalry is just this normal, natural, healthy jealousy of something that the other sibling gets, right? That could be more attention. That could be you're 5 and I'm 20 and you're the cute little one. That could be you went to a better school than my parents sent me to. That could be you're adopted and I'm not, or I'm adopted and you're not. It could be as simple as you get more candy than me at Halloween, and so therefore I'm angry with you. But at the core of all of that, I still very much love you. That is a normal kind of sibling rivalry. But where you start kind of sliding into the danger zone is when siblings begin to quote unquote hate each other. They begin to sabotage and ostracize each other. They bully, they assault, and they hurt with their words, their hands. Sometimes I've had siblings in my office where they have gotten into physical fights outside of the office, but they've brought, their situation indoors, and it looked like it was inching up to be physical. It could also be something like, I'm going to have an affair with your husband in hopes that it hurts you. Or I'm going to triangulate, manipulate, and make it look like you're the unstable sibling and I'm the normal one. So it can get as deep as that. So the way that I want you to see siblings is on a spectrum. Siblings over here at, let's say, a 1, a 2, and a 3 on the scale from 1 to 10, they're doing really good over here. They've got some jealousy of each other. There's some social challenges that one has and not the other. They fight, But over here in the 1, 2, 3 zone, they're doing okay. Over here at stage 10, where there's tons of sibling rivalry, if I can say it, there's narcissism. There may even be some physical harm, some sexual assault and child molestation. That's a 10. 5, 6, 7 is in the middle there. And that may be a sibling that you're not really close with, but you talk every holiday, or you text every other day, but you don't really have a deep relationship. It's more of a shallow kind of a relationship. These kind of sibling interactions can be harmful wherever they are on that scale from 1 to 10. But the most detrimental would be 7, 8, 9, 10, which is what I'm talking about in today's video. What causes siblings to be narcissistic, dysfunctional, unhealthy, and just cruel? What causes that? Well, lack of social skills. Now, there are some social skills deficits that we all have, but in a family where there is sibling rivalry, there's this mean, cold, cruel sibling relationship just brewing between two siblings. Sometimes the sibling with the best social skills gets the most attention, is, tagged as being mature and sophisticated, gets better grades in school and tends to be closer to teachers and other adults, gets a chance to have more extracurricular activities, dates the best people, becomes friends to the best people, gets the best jobs, goes to the best school, right? It's their social skills. That's their gift. And so in a sibling relationship where one gets more because of their social skills, you're likely to see that envy, that dysfunctional belief system that you are better than them and they are less. You also want to consider concerns with fairness. There are some situations where, no matter how fair the parents are, that jealous sibling will believe all the way to their grave that other sibling is being treated in a better way, or they're being favored in some way, or parents love them and like them more than the other. There's a lot of people that like to believe that parents don't have favorites, but I must say, even as a therapist, I think there are parents who do kind of lean more towards other kids that may be more like them in the family, and not necessarily the one who's more like, let's say, Uncle Bill over there, who's socially inept and a little bit odd. So there are some parents, I think, who lean more towards certain kids that remind them of themselves or their favorite people within a family. But, fairness can really shift in a family too, depending on the family dynamics. And so if you have a sibling that feels that you're being treated more fairly than they are, you're likely to see some envy, some jealousy, some narcissistic behaviors, some lack of respect, some manipulation of you. The list goes on. Varying temperaments as well can add to this complicated cause of sibling rivalry and jealousy and narcissistic sibling relationships. Just that idea that, she's nicer than me, or because she smiles at people more and she comes across as a sweetheart and I'm mean, mad, and angry all the time, I don't appreciate that she gets all this attention or that he gets all of this attention. I've been a therapist to families where one boy or one man within a sibling relationship, he is the more favored and he is the one with the nicer temperament. Oh my God. He is the one with the nicer temperament, whereas the other sibling is not. He's more irritable and angry and pushes people away and is a little bit odd and isolates, right? So varying temperaments can also be the cause of this ugly sibling system that I'm talking about in this video today. Special needs and parenting styles are also an issue in these particular families where sibling rivalry reigns. Now, special needs, let's say your sibling had depression, anxiety, suicidal thoughts, they were self-harming, they were cutting themselves, they were hearing and seeing things, they've been to the hospital several times, and yet you're existing over here not going through any of that. That in and of itself can cause a long-term sibling rivalry that's going to be difficult to maneuver and maybe even deal with. It may push you guys further and further apart. And parenting styles. Now, this has happened in my family. My mom, for an example, has had her children, she's had us at ages where we are so separated, I guess that's what I'm trying to say, that jealousy is likely to occur. My younger brother is 5 years younger than me, and my older brother is 10 years older than me. And so as you can imagine, here I am, the favored girl. I was always with my mom and my grandma. I always had something to say. I had a powerful personality as a little girl. On my brother's side of the world, one brother who's my more, I think, isolative brother, he's more of an artist, a cartoonist. He's more of an architect. He does his own thing over there with his work, and he stays quiet and he doesn't bother anybody. So I think that was kind of the dynamic with him. My older brother became the rebellious one. So if you have that dynamic within your own family system, you're likely to see some jealousy there. Now, in terms of parenting style, parenting styles fluctuate as well, depending on the kind of child that parent is dealing with. And so maybe between you and your sibling or siblings, the parenting styles kind of shifted. And so it makes it look like maybe somebody was favored that they really weren't favored, right? Or somebody was pampered when that's really not the case. It's the parenting style that fluctuates. So, this is a complicated kind of a dynamic, right? Having a sibling who is jealous, may have some narcissistic and dysfunctional behaviors towards you. How do you live with this kind of a person? Well, here's how it's most likely going to affect you. Number one, a lost childhood. Now, a lost childhood can be, representative of a few things. One could be you grew up too fast and you became too independent too soon. And therefore, you lost a grand opportunity to be a child, to experience happiness, to be free, to feel like you didn't have to fight or defend yourself against anyone, right? So a lost childhood in that sense. You could also feel like you lost your childhood because that other sibling did any and everything they could to make your life difficult, right? They bullied you, they harassed you, they assaulted you, they lied on you, they manipulated you, right? So that's another instance where you could have lost your childhood. Also, too, in families where there is separation, there's divorce, you may find that other sibling, grabs on or kind of bonds to the father or the mother, whoever that distant parent is, they bond. And so you could have felt like you lost your childhood because you've lost that connection with your parent. I once had a situation where I had twins in psychotherapy. The younger sister, younger by a few minutes, but she's the younger sister. She clung to her father when the divorce happened and he moved out of the house. And that kept the older twin from being able to have a close relationship with her father as well, because the younger one was more clingy, more emotional, had more fear of abandonment. There was a lot of complications there. And so the dad automatically bonded to his younger daughter a little bit more, and so that pushed out the older twin, and she felt that she didn't have a relationship or a childhood with her father like she should have. Okay, so that's something that's likely to happen. Low self-esteem and feelings of low efficacy on your part. You have a sibling that's fighting you all the way, you're going to start feeling bad about yourself. You may also find yourself feeling like there's nothing you can do that's right. Low self-efficacy basically is this. I see that I have to have a particular set of skills. I have to be knowledgeable. I have to know how to do A, B, and C. And yet I feel like I'm not capable. I feel like I'm not capable of doing all that I need to do to be that highly skilled person, right? So then you kind of adopt feelings of low self-efficacy. I don't know how to do A, B, and C. I can't do what I need to do, and I'll never be able to. That's feelings of low self-efficacy. Okay. The next thing is a behavioral manifestation of jealousy. You're likely to see this all throughout the lifespan unless something miraculous happens and your sibling isn't as jealous as they were in the past. But you're going to see the following behavioral manifestations all throughout your lifespan with a jealous sibling. One is comparing, competition. That's a second thing. Psychological, emotional, verbal, and physical abuse. That's another. Being really regressed and dependent in their behaviors. Sometimes when you have a little bit of an edge within your family as a sibling, the younger sibling will regress to a younger age and become dependent on somebody in that family. And so therefore the attention gets pulled from you onto them, and they go from there, right? They kind of map out their footsteps. Sometimes this happens unintentionally. It's kind of like a subconscious thing going on. And other times it happens intentionally, right? Mimi over there gets more attention from my dad than I do. So I think I'm going to say, I now go see a therapist. She thinks I'm suicidal. She thinks I self-harm a lot. She thinks I'm depressed. And here's why. And I think it was because of you, Dad. You were always attached to Mimi over there and never me, right? So sometimes siblings will take that course and become really regressed and dependent. The other thing too is borderline personality symptoms. Now, your sibling could have borderline personality disorder, which drives that sibling and that narcissistic envy and jealousy against you, But you could also have a sibling who's pretty normative and normal in how they're developing. And because of a internalized fear of abandonment, a poor temperament, irritability, and anger, they can kind of develop borderline personality traits over time. Whether it's the true diagnosis or not, they can develop borderline personality tendencies, impulsivity, rocky and stormy relationships, lots of anger and rage, interpersonal instability, poor self-esteem, cutting themselves, feeling suicidal, feeling despondent, all of those things, right? They can begin to take a course in their life that displays all of these behaviors. And so, it kind of pulls the attention away from you, or it makes you feel guilty, or you're blamed, or it perpetuates anger within the family dynamic. There's a lot that can go wrong here. So the behavior manifestations of sibling jealousy can be pretty serious. Let's not also forget triangulation and manipulation. This is something else that an unhealthy, jealous, dysfunctional, narcissistic sibling might use on you as a tool. Triangulating, right? They're the victim and you are the persecutor. You're the one that's creating the problem. And maybe mom and dad is going to be the rescuer, right? Because they're going to come to you and try to fix the situation, right? Manipulation is also likely. Just strictly manipulating everything that involves your life, your relationships, your education, your personality, how other people see you, right? And they may even try to manipulate how you see yourself by saying things like you're arrogant, right? Or you've also always got the best of A, B, and C. Or mom always liked you better than me, right? So you may hear those kind of things. I also think too, and I've seen this a lot in psychotherapy, that, some siblings have this rivalry between the two of them where, that one jealous, dysfunctional sibling tries to value you at some points because it makes them look good, and then they devalue you at other points. So it's like a devil and an angel kind of interaction there going on. I value my sibling because she got the best job in the world doing makeup for A, B, and C celebrities, and she's my sister. But then on the other side of that may try to demonize you and make you look like you're the worst sibling on earth, right? So there's this vacillation between good and evil with you, right? She's an angel, she's the devil. I value her, and now I don't, right? So vacillation, that happens a lot. Sibling relationships are complicated, and I don't talk a lot about them on this channel, but that's going to change in 2023. There's a lot of things that I have recently seen with siblings, amongst siblings, and it is hard to digest. So, be ready to see another video like this coming up. Thank you so much for joining me in today's video, guys. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button if this video was helpful, and hit that bell button so you'll know every time I post a story, a live chat, a video, a post, whatever. You will get all of the notifications. I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.